2026, and we're going to have another beautiful day today. A little on the hot side. Sunshine and 91. Thursday, sunny. We got about a 20% chance of an afternoon shower, 93 the high. Partly cloudy on Friday, a 30% chance of rain, 91 is the high. And we're looking at maybe a little better rain chance for the weekend, but that's a little ways away, so we won't deal with it just yet. Maybe that will change. Things will improve so you can get out and enjoy it a little bit. Thank you for being in with us. It's Dixon and Vining at Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Now on YouTube at Real Talk 995 TV if you want to check us out there. And don't forget to download our app because everything is on the app, the podcast. You can listen live from the app. You can watch us on YouTube. You can text us and call us from the app because the number's there as well, and just everything in one place. And that is our app. It is absolutely free, and we encourage you to download it if you do not have it yet on your device.
Talk about basically a one-stop shop. You get that app, it's like being in a casino.
Oh, it's great.
There's no clock. You can't tell how long you've been there.
Yeah.
You're just there forever. You're hooked. You stay there.
Yeah, that's why they don't have windows in a casino.
Exactly.
So you don't know if it's daylight
like a supermarket. They
you have no idea what's going on.
You begin ignoring your family. You're just like, get away. I'm listening to Talk 99.5. I don't have time for you right now.
That's nice, isn't it?
Much more important. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
707 with Dixon and Vining. And, golly Moses, the Alabama Men's Clinic. I love these guys. You know, I've been talking about them for a while now. I started using them, I don't know, about a year ago maybe. And when you talk about testosterone, you don't realize how important it is until you don't have any or you don't have enough. The difference between 300 and, let's say, 900 is night and day. It's the difference between waking up in the morning, dragging yourself through the day, wondering, why am I so tired? Why am I not getting anywhere? Not wanting to go to the gym, or waking up in the morning, popping out of bed, raring to go, excited about the day, going to the gym as often as humanly possible, working out, gaining muscle, losing weight, feeling great. All of this can be done with a visit to the Alabama Men's Clinic. If you're low on testosterone, low T is really making your life miserable, and you may not even be aware of it. But we can fix that for you. 598-7000, the telephone number, 598-7000. You get your initial consultation, $99, find out where you stand. Then they talk about options, both for your low T, your ED, hair loss, weight loss, all the stuff that really men need when it comes to a certain age. The Alabama Men's Clinic, find them online, alabamamensclinic.com. It is urology-backed science. It is powered by Men's Pro, and it is a truly wonderful investment. alabamamensclinic.com. Make an appointment there in 30 seconds or less, or do it on the phone at 598-7000.
And now, it's Dixon and Vining's top 3 things you need to know.
Well, Iran shot down our U.S. Army helicopter 2 days ago. President Trump warned Iran a while ago not to shoot at any of our military or there would be some consequences. So yesterday, the U.S. delivered strikes over the downing of that Apache helicopter. Iran's foreign minister says that Iran will leave no attack or threat unanswered. Better be careful with that. A lot of tit for tat right now in military action. But here's what Donald Trump said this morning. He is very close to ordering new strikes against power plants and bridges. And if Iran isn't careful, this is going to happen real quick. He has been extremely patient trying to get this deal done now for quite some time. And they're playing this little wait-and-see game. And he's about had enough of it now that this, helicopter was brought down. Drone boat went and picked him up. That was really neat to see yesterday that we have the ability to do that. And thank goodness that these 2 military service members were not injured very badly in all of this, and they were able to rescue them. But it just feels like the president has about had enough of this.
Well, he should have seen this coming. You and I have been able to see it for quite some time now, saying, they're just stalling. This is Iran's favorite thing. They've been stalling for 47 years. They're still stalling now, They're like, well, let's talk some more. Well, wait now, don't do the bombing thing. We haven't really talked this out yet. And every single time, we're real close. We're so close. You got to stop falling for that. I would say go ahead, kick in with the bombing, and then say, literally, you got to give them 48 hours, 72 tops. And you go, you either agree to this or more bombs fall.
Right.
End of story.
And not play with it at all.
No.
No more hesitation. Give them whatever the time frame is. Make it short, and then you're right. Go in there and just deliver everything you need to deliver to get this done.
Yeah, I think we could turn that country into an asphalt parking lot pretty quickly.
It sure could happen. A U.S. district judge has ruled that using nitrogen gas as a form of execution for 49-year-old Jeffrey Lee, who is on death row here in Alabama, cannot be used. Lee was scheduled to be put to death tomorrow. Judge Emily C. Marks found the method of using nitrogen gas carried what she said a substantial risk of serious harm. Is that not the point of,
Yeah.
hello? Yes, we're putting this person to death.
Hello.
Marks also ruled that Alabama could change the form of execution to Lee's preferred method, which he said is a firing squad. The state has two other authorized execution methods, lethal injection and the electric chair. Judge Marks said that Lee is not entitled to an injunction barring the state from executing him using one of those other methods. So just amazing that, here we are 24 hours out and we're not quite sure what the method is going to be. Now, Don't forget that this guy killed two people in 1998, Jimmy Ellis and Elaine Thompson. They were at a pawn shop, and he came in with a sawed-off shotgun and killed them both.
Does this maybe go to the Supreme Court? They make a decision,
Maybe.
and then we know at that point?
Maybe.
As far as I know, Alabama does not have anything in the Constitution allowing us to use a firing squad. It's Yellow Mama,
Yeah.
or it is
Lethal
injection, or it's nitrogen hypoxia. Those are your three options.
Yep.
That being said, we could send him to Mississippi. That is a viable option in Mississippi if lethal injection drugs are not available.
Well, sure, but he's not convicted in Mississippi. He's convicted here. That makes it a little bit more difficult.
Just right across the border. Go ahead.
So what you're
Little
saying?
state line there.
Here's what we do: we put him on this side of the line. We put the firing squad on that side of the line.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That could
All
work.
right.
Yeah.
I'm a problem solver.
You sure are. Way to go, Richard. That's nice to hear that you solved that issue.
Anything I can do.
This is a case, we talked a little bit about it Monday, Richard, when you were out and Spud was in. Just a really bizarre case. Now, it's in Summerton, where you have now a Walker County judge that has given bond to an 18-year-old charged with murder in the shooting death of 46-year-old man. His name was Stephen Morrow. He and his wife apparently were in the Walmart off of Highway 78, and they came across Timothy Braden Crawford. He's the 18-year-old who was charged with killing 46-year-old Morrow. Something happened inside of the Walmart. The problem was this. Summerton police didn't put out very much, and social media blew up. Everybody was questioning what had happened. This was last week, like Wednesday, I think, in the Walmart, and Morrow was killed. And everybody's like, could we get some more information?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a suspect? What does he look like? Do you have a car? Are you looking for it? Summerton police didn't hardly put out anything. These were the only details that we had, was that this man was shot outside of the Walmart off of Highway 78. So we've gotten further details, and part of those details is that Crawford is autistic. At 18 years old, he was given a weapon by his family. Apparently, he was in the Walmart, and carts were hit. Don't know exactly what the skirmish was in the Walmart. And Kayla, who is Morrow's wife, called 911, called police. Police came out to the Walmart to kind of see what was going on. And they kind of blew it off. They're just like, there's a bunch of teens who are, acting a certain way. And apparently the police left. Then Morrow and his wife, they come back into the Walmart, finish up their shopping. And when they leave, this guy is outside of the Walmart waiting on them. And they follow each other in a vehicle. They go a little further away. There's another skirmish, and that leads to the 18-year-old shooting and killing Morrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's not self-defense when you're kind of stalking somebody, and you're wondering, okay, 5 days went by before you got any further details. Is there more to this than we know? And now we know. Here's an 18-year-old given a gun. He's autistic. Summerton police were there, and then they left. So is there some responsibility there? Don't know all the answers to this, but Crawford obviously in the wrong in this, in that he ended up shooting and killing when he could have walked away, could have driven away. Similar to the Carmelo case, Anthony Carmelo case, same thing. So I it's most bizarre what's going on up there, and there's a lot to unpack from that entire case.
Yeah, I can't believe they gave this guy bond. I really
They
am
did.
shocked that they let him out.
$250,000, I think it was.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but it
Mm-hmm.
was, this was murder when you get right down to it. And I don't know. We'll have to see. Obviously, there's going to be a court case and all that. So alleged. It's
Yeah,
alleged murder.
Alleged
I'll put it that
murder.
way. How about
Right.
that?
Yep.
7:15 with Dixon and Vining on Talk 99.5 and Talk995.com. Flipsy's Furniture is designer furniture at wholesale prices. Now with two locations. One on Highway 31 across from the Galleria right next to 2nd and Charles. The other, 1811 Crestwood Boulevard in Irondale. That one has got 28,000 square feet of showroom and more in the basement. I know I was stunned. I looked online. I found what I thought I wanted. I walked into that store. I'd been there before. I forgot how big it was. You walk in and you're like, oh, more furniture than the eye can see. I said, can you show me where this thing is? I mentioned the one that I wanted. And the salesperson said, yeah, absolutely. And took me directly to it. And I looked at it and I said, I think this is the one I want. And he very politely said, there's more in the basement. I said, really? Well, let's go take a look at that. And sure enough, there were 6, 7, 8 more bedroom sets down in the basement that I went. And guess what? I loved one of them. I picked that one instead. And I bought that. You may have the same experience. I don't know. There's so many different types and styles of furniture available at that particular store. At the Hoover location, more of a Hoover-centric store. You'll know what I mean as soon as you walk in the door. Still the same helpful people, not pushy, not hoverers, and you can get that white glove delivery in the 12 months, same as cash at either location. Flipsy's Furniture, designer furniture, wholesale prices, 1811 Crestwood Boulevard, Irondale, Highway 31 in Hoover, across from the Galleria next to 2nd and Charles. This is the only place I will buy my furniture. 721 Dixon Inviting, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. We've got another good one in store today with a high of 92. Little rain chance, very little rain chance in the next couple of days here, but more on the weekend. And highs that continue to hang in the low 90s. So
Gonna be a little hot.
yeah, boy. This is Alabama. We should get used to it, you know. I don't usually really start complaining until we get into the upper 90s, the 98, 99, maybe the 101. That's when I'm like, okay, that's enough. Good night, everybody.
That's when I start praying for the air unit. It's like, oh, be good, be good. You can do this.
Be
You can
healed.
do this.
You must stand up to this.
You can do it.
Yeah, boy. I've discovered that if I set it at 72 and leave it at 72, it doesn't have to work that hard. It's that bouncing back and forth, up and down. You go to 78, and, you know, then you have to cool it back down again later. So you don't do it. Just set it.
Yeah, I may
and
move it
forget
a couple of degrees, like 1 or 2 degrees. I don't go crazy because I think you're right. If you turn it up during the day and it's the afternoon, the house is hot, and it will run and run and run and run,
Never
trying to get back to that temperature.
Never get itself where
I don't
it
know.
needs to go.
We talked to somebody that is in heating and air, and they'll be like, "No, the proper thing to do is this," and I'm like, "Okay." I mean, there's a couple of rules of thought on that. So, but I'm with you on yours.
Yeah, I like
tend
that
to
one.
agree with that.
I also keeping the blinds drawn, blackout curtains so that nobody
Looks
can
like no
see
one
you.
Lives there.
Exactly. That's the goal here, is to create a world that nobody wants to see.
That's right.
That's what I
Can't
meant.
see in that house. All right, folks. I really, want to stress upon you, if you haven't done it yet, the importance of a financial plan, because there's a lot that goes into it. Budgeting, debt and risk management, investments and wealth building, the things that maybe you don't deal with every single day. And it's nice to know somebody that is professional in this entire arena that knows exactly what he's doing. Talking about Danny Knowles and the Knowles Group. This is something that he is an expert in, and he loves working with all kinds of people. I've heard his show many, many times. He's here on the weekends from 2 to 3, Saturday and Sunday. And the advice is this: if you're young and you don't have the nest egg built yet, but you have to work toward that, he can help to get you there. So if part of you is thinking, hey, I'm young, I don't hardly have any money, once I get going, maybe when I'm later in life, I'll get in touch with him. No, Danny and the guys at Danny Knowles and the Knowles Group really would love to talk with you to get that plan put together so that at an early age, you're really building that nest egg so that when maybe you get to before retirement age, you're in great shape. Now, some of us more middle age, maybe a little closer to retirement, that's okay. If you've got a 401k, a pension, all those things, it's still important to get a financial plan put together because you're going to have to start withdrawing some of that money. You got to worry about taxes. How does Social Security play into all of this? It's important that you get with Danny and get this plan together. Customized just for you because we're all a little bit different. Danny Knowles is ready to help you. Reach out to him today. The Knowles Group, Knowles. The website is theknowlesgroup.com. Once again, it is theknowlesgroup.com.
It is 724 with Dixon Inviting on Talk 99.5 and talk995.com. Occasionally you run across a story that is so bizarre, so off the charts weird that you say, there's no way this can be true. And then you do a little research and you go, whoop, I was wrong. It's true. Here is that story. Everybody remembers the hideous deaths of Rob Reiner and his wife.
That was horrible.
Stabbed to death in their home. And the first suspect that came to anybody's mind who knew these people was their son, Nick. Got to be the son, Nick. They talked about him being at a party earlier, there being some very odd behavior. He had been behaving strangely for quite some time. He had some mental issues and apparently was not on the meds that he was supposed to be taking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, do we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Nick was responsible for his parents' death? No, we do not. We do not. But he was arrested, and certainly some evidence has been compiled to suggest that that is the case. You might remember right off the bat, he hired a big, high-profile attorney, and then they got into a dispute over money and then went their separate ways. The high-profile attorney said, look, I can't speak to this. I certainly don't want to sway anybody, but I can tell you that the facts of this case aren't what they're being made out to be. Okay, all right, whatever. Well, now Nick Reiner, in order to afford to defend himself, wants access to his trust fund that had been put together by his parents.
Oh, oh.
He and
Don't
his,
you know the
I guess,
Reiners are just turning over in their
yeah,
grave if he's guilty of killing them?
spinning.
Oh.
He and his now lawyer are saying, look, this doesn't have anything to do with the murders. It's, Nick is devastated by their deaths. The fact is, about what did and did not happen to them are not at issue in this trust litigation. Like anyone accused of a crime, Nick is presumed innocent, and he's entitled to mount his defense with the resources that are lawfully his own. To be fair, they did set up a trust fund for him. Now, I don't know what the rules are in terms of him being able to access it, but I'm pretty sure it's not.
How about if
by the way, if he
you're
kills
found,
us.
Yeah. How about if you're found innocent, then yes, you have access to that trust money. Otherwise, there are people right now going, man, I need to rewrite my entire.
Might want to rethink that.
Trust. If my child, my son or my daughter ends up killing me, that they don't have access to those funds. If they're presumed innocent, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're found guilty and they killed me, really? Oh.
By the way, the high-end lawyer that he had retained, Alan Jackson, who then quit on him because of a money situation, he says it was reasons he couldn't share. He now says, my firm stands ready, willing, and able to resume representation of Mr. Reiner if the funds become available. Oh, not too mercenary there, are you? Okay. I understand it's going to cost money to mount a defense, but it sounds to me like you are pushing for a little extra oomph, Like, wowzer. Okay. What was supposed to happen, this trust was established in 1993. He was to receive half of its money when he turned 30 and the rest at 35. The filing says Reiner never received the funds he was entitled to at 30, and the trustee overseeing them since February, Paul R. Kanan, has given a shifting series of excuses and justifications to deny Reiner the money, including concerns about Reiner's competence that have no bearing on a payout that is mandatory. I don't know. If I'd put together a trust fund for my kid and the person I put in charge of it said, hey, that kid shouldn't have a whole bunch of money. Kind of in the same way you might say about an autistic kid, don't give him a gun. Not sure that kid should have a whole bunch of money.
Maybe not.
Don't know what he'd do with it. Not sure he would use it wisely. Probably spend it on drugs. Possibly kill himself with it. How about we hold on to it until he gets a little better?
This is just shocking. It really is.
There's a classic joke about the guy who killed his mother and his father and then threw himself on the mercy of the court because he was an orphan. This is that case. I need the money from my parents' trust fund
to defend myself, to get me off, because if he's guilty, and there are a lot of indications that are looking that way, I'm not saying he is, that money helped him to get off the murder charges of killing his parents.
The very parents whose trust fund he wants access to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't get worse than that.
No. Hey, coming up next, we're going to chat with Jared Hudson. He is, of course, a candidate for the Republican nomination for Senate. That runoff election 1 week from yesterday, it is Jared Hudson and Barry Moore. So we're going to chat with Jared for a bit, see what's on his mind and what's going on in his campaign, and see how he feels his chances are. I saw a recent poll where he pulled a little bit ahead. He might be feeling pretty good about that. Back in a moment. Oh, jeez. I'll be humming this all day now. 7:35 with Dixon and Vining. Talk 99.5, talk995.com.
Then my work here is done.
I want to tell you about Granger Thager Auction Marketing. This is an organization that can help you sell your property in the best of all possible ways. Who doesn't want a bidding war? I mean, when you decide to list a piece of property, isn't your fondest desire that some people get into a bidding war over your piece of property? That would be like, oh, that would be awesome, I must say. If you could get 2 or 3 people going at it, eventually you're going to end up with the best market value. The best market value available to you at that time. And that's exactly what GTauctions.com can do for you, Granger Thaggart Auction Marketing. They can also give you a date of sale, a date of closing, and make sure that the buyer pays the closing costs and the cost of sale. All of these things can be handled quickly and easily with one trip to GTauctions.com. Set up an appointment with Granger Thaggart Auction Marketing. They would love to talk to you about that piece of property, that homestead, that piece of undeveloped real estate, that commercial building that you have that you're selling. All of this can be done through Granger Thaggart Auction Marketing, gtauctions.com to find out more. Joining us now on the phone line where we interview people, it is Jared Hudson, candidate for the Republican nomination to the Senate. Of course, that runoff is taking place just 6 days from now. Greetings, Jared, and how are you, sir?
Doing great. How are y'all doing?
We're doing well. Thank you very much for taking a couple of minutes to talk with us this morning.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for having me on this morning.
By all means, let's talk about this thing. The race has been neck and neck, although I recently saw a poll where you had jumped a little bit out in front. Obviously, the only poll that matters is the one that's happening on Tuesday.
100%, brother.
You got to feel pretty good about your chances right now, huh?
Hey, look, God has blessed us tremendously. You know, Proverbs 21:31, the horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory rests in the Lord. And I shouldn't be here. I'm a very unlikely runoff Senate candidate. We don't have the money. We don't have every endorsement it has. For whatever reason, we're still hanging in here, like wearing on them like an old wart, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Jared, one of the latest surveys is showing you with almost 49% and more with about 39%. That's pretty significant, 12% undecided with this runoff election. How are you feeling about it, when it comes up on the 16th of actually defeating more in it? I mean, you got to be feeling pretty good about this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we feel great. Like I said, I mean, I shouldn't be here, but we're still in the slugfest figuring it out. And it's not about Jared Hudson. It's about the people of Alabama. I'm just a name on a ballot. And that resonates with people when they realize, wow, yeah, I get to pick my next senator. Our senator is going to be an envoy from Alabama to Washington, not a mouthpiece from Washington to the people of Alabama. And I think that's why our message resonates as we go to all 67 counties. I mean, we're driving through them right now, going down 65, playing the game of getting across the state so we can meet the people where they're at and figure out what issues impact Alabamians all over. And by the way, in all 67 counties, the one main one stays the same, and that's affordability of groceries. Mm-hmm. And I'm just a regular dude with my wife and I dealing with the same problems everybody else does with, crap, we just left Publix or Walmart, and what in the world do we get for $300? I mean, it ain't rocket science. It's just meeting people where they're at, and I think that's why we've been having the success we've had. But like you said, June 16th today, got to get folks out to vote, and got to get them to vote Jared Hudson so we can take this thing home.
Usually we're chatting with Jared Hudson, a Republican guy who wants a Republican nomination for Senate. We say this all the time. There's a reason why there's so much negative advertising. It generally works. This is maybe the first time that I've seen a movement where the mountain of negative advertising against you is beginning to sway people in the opposite direction. That is to say, they're looking at the negative ads and they're going, I'm not really fond of that. I don't like what's going on with that. I've spoken with several people who are familiar with these ads and were saying, first off, I know the ads are, well, technically truthful, but overall, it rubs me the wrong way. Even though I know it's not Barry Moore technically who's running these ads, it's a PAC that is running them on his behalf. I can't help but wonder, are you beginning to get some feedback of that nature? Is that something that's happening in your world?
Oh yeah, we get. I mean, I get it from people that go to church with me, right? And get these ladies walk up at church and say, baby, how could you take money from Democrats? And it's not tactically truthful. It's not truthful at all. I'm not a Democrat. Don't take money from Democrats. Don't support illegal immigration. I'm actually the only one who's arrested a legal immigrant in this race. I'm not a cartel member. I mean, it's the way they go about doing this. And the bigger problem is, one, outside PAC money, right? So you see $20 million almost being spent on my opponent. About $5 million of it is negative on me. The money they've spent negative on me is more than both of our campaigns have raised combined. So with that being said, it's outside money that's trying to buy a seat. It's not working, but I don't think it's necessarily because the negative ads don't work. People respond better to the cockroach in the salad sort of thing. What it is I did have a small platform of podcasts I've been on that you can easily find, of messages I've preached, just like, going and preaching for Man Church across the state of Alabama and across the Southeast. So when people see this ad and then they're able to see 3 years ago an interview I did on a podcast or hear me preach, and they're like, one of these things don't match. And people don't trust the politician or trust the political ad or trust the political system. They just don't trust that anymore. Another problem is media. Now, I know this is how you make your money, but if the media would just say, hey, no, that's salacious, we're not going to run that, that would fix a lot of it as well, because most of it, like you said, is propaganda. But I don't even believe it's tactically true, because I've seen what some of them have said. I'm like, that's not true at all. My dad gets mad with anybody. My wife gets mad. My 10-year-old daughter looks at it and says, Daddy, you're not a bad man. And so that's kind of, that is where people are going to. But the hard part is when you go to all 67 counties and you talk with people in all counties, somebody sees that ad and mentions it. Somebody's like, no, I heard him talk. That's not him at all. And I think that's been the difference setter. And again, it's not Jared. It's all the Lord. He's the one who's given me favor and blessed us in this whole process.
I wanted to ask you, Jared, some questions have been asked, and since you are here and you have this format to speak and say what you need to say, there's been questions about you being the founder of Covenant Rescue Group and what you do with Covenant Rescue Group. Let's clear the air on this. And again, part of it is in some of these ads and some of these other things that people are saying. I want you to have the ability right now to talk about your nonprofit organization and what it is exactly that you all do.
Yeah, no. So Covenant Rescue Group, we're a nonprofit that funds no-cost training for local law enforcement agencies that want human trafficking training, in particular child exploitation. Now, we have the benefit of board members that we have being law enforcement officers, some of them federal task force officers with different agencies on the federal side. I'm a federal task force officer with Homeland Security. I'm an investigator with Blount County Sheriff's Office and a SWAT deputy there. And with Homeland Security, the only thing I work for them in investigations is child exploitation and the immigration piece. In particular, when we make an arrest with a local agency and you have somebody showing up to purchase a child that's an illegal immigrant, being sure that we get in touch with the appropriate people on the HSI side to put an ICE detainer on them and figure out who this individual is. Are they actually an illegal immigrant, and get them deported appropriately? So that is what I do. We have law enforcement credentials, but when we go into train agencies, we don't necessarily utilize our law enforcement credentials. Sometimes we do if the agency asks and we get an MOU with our sheriff's office to work with that agency, or sometimes we're sworn in with the agency that we're actually working with. That happened just recently last week with our team going down, doing an operation, made 6 arrests. Our team was sworn in with the sheriff during the days of that operation. So it really just depends on what the agency wants. But our goal is to provide no-cost training and then set up a live operation for that agency to show them the training we just provided works. And we help them set up the training. We help them go through how to make sure that we catch these individuals that are buying and selling kids. And when we make these arrests, or when the law enforcement agency makes the arrest, we're wanting to have a successful prosecution in the long run. Some of these cases, I just got subpoenaed for cases I was a part of that are 3 years old, just like 3 weeks ago. We get a letter and the case is almost 3 years old. So some of these cases take a while. 90% of them end in plea deals in the state of Alabama. Most of them, depending on the prosecutor's office, wind up getting put on an Anaz law hold because you get the 13A6 152 attempted human trafficking charge, and they can put them on an Anaz law hold. So they're held without bond. If a judge moves forward with it, they have the ability to with Anaz law. And we're able to make it. You still have an 18-month, a 2-year, however long the case is before you get sentencing. So it's not something that just ends whenever you're done. Oh, yeah, we hooked up the guy and put him in jail. Our goal is to make sure we successfully prosecute individuals that are buying and selling kids or buying and selling adult people. We have a whole counter trafficking side for of-age people that we're able to teach how to proactively go after individuals who are selling people, but make sure that we remove the prostitution part out of it and go strictly after those who are being sold. The last thing I'll leave you with, our goal is not to work with these agencies forever. Huntsville Police Department's a great example. Anybody who wants to can call up there. They came down and briefed us on what they had done. This is in December, so I'm sure their numbers have changed. But December of 2025, they said after our training we all in January, where we made 11 arrests and 1 rescue, they said, and I think all of those cases are prosecuted now. I could be wrong. There might be some left out there. But they've made over 30 arrests with over 55 charges, all human trafficking and child solicitation related. They've made 7 rescues, if I remember right, across the state of Alabama, and helped solve 1 murder out of Memphis, Tennessee, just strictly with what we taught them. So the goal is for them to continue to do it, and Huntsville's been doing a great job about it. Limestone County with Sheriff Josh McLaughlin, they've been crushing it ever since we trained with them 3 years ago. That is the goal, so the agency continues to do the work.
Fantastic stuff. I hope you got somebody who will take over for you if you happen to win this nomination and end up in the Senate, because you'd hate to see that end.
We got a great team, and again, I'm the CEO of the organization. I'm not going out putting hands on people as much anymore. I'm not going out and helping make cases, although we do sometimes. We got a great CEO, law enforcement officer, Army veteran. The dude is the real deal, and he will take over for me after if we win this after I exit the organization. So the job, the mission, the team will continue with a team that we have in place.
Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us today, Jared. Good luck a week from now, and we'll talk to you on the other side.
Man, thank you so much, brother. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
Right,
Thanks,
care.
Jared.
Jared Hudson, candidate for the nomination.
Former U.S. Navy SEAL.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Guy has come a long way. He ran for sheriff, Jefferson
County.
We could have done a lot worse than him. In fact, we did. Now that I think of it, but
maybe, I know there's people going, man.
Maybe that was just the warm up. Maybe this is what he was destined for.
Well, maybe so. You never know.
Supposed to happen.
Yeah.
We'll see. If he should defeat Barry Moore in this runoff,
that would be big.
It would be a very rare misstep for Trump.
Yes, it would be.
Trump giving an endorsement to somebody who does not win is a very, very rare happening here. It's only happened a couple of times in this election cycle.
He hasn't met Jared.
Well, that's true.
You might need to meet Jared.
That's true, too. 749, Dixon Divining, Talk 99.5. Stick around. 7:52, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Dixon inviting with you on this lovely, lovely Wednesday. We are on YouTube. If you haven't seen us yet, you should go check it out. YouTube.com, obviously. We're at Real Talk 995 TV, and that's all day long. I understand, Jim, the mechanic guy, on Saturday as well? No, I know Cross Flags.
Jim Moore, yeah.
Jim Moore's on?
Jim Moore's on at 10. We're on with CRN from 8 to 10. True News Radio 7 to 8.
Look at that.
And then Rhonda Dial 3 to 5.
Okay. Hot diggity dog. That's all right there on YouTube. You can sit and watch this radio station all day if you want to.
We're on YouTube.
They're on YouTube.
Oh, you're on YouTube.
Yeah,
okay.
Just Cross Flags.
Oh, the rest of them aren't?
Mm-mm.
I could have sworn I ran across one the other day. Okay. What do I know? Obviously not this. 7:53. This is a horrible idea. And should we be surprised, the Seattle mayor, who seems to be clueless about virtually everything, and she may not be bright, but she makes up for it by being hideously ugly. This is a woman who thinks it's a good idea to have a homeless shelter where it's not required for you to be sober. Yeah. Hell,
that's not going to work out very well.
You talk about the tiny homes that we were going to build here, and we still haven't managed to get that done. I think because nobody wants them near them. Everybody's like, not in my neighborhood. These 70-square-foot units are going to cost $16,000 each to build in this Interbay Neighborhoods Bayside Enhanced Shelter community. And the mayor says it's not important that you remain sober. We're not demanding that people be, abstinent when they enter this village. But there are going to be, there's kind of repeat efforts to help people along into treatment so that treatment will always be available and encouraged. Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
It sure is.
It's been tried before, and this is the funny thing about this, is that all these communists, they always seem to think that they've got a brand new idea.
No, it's been tried.
We're doing this completely different. This was done 20 years ago with a shelter where they said, not only are we going to say you don't have to remain abstinent, but we'll even provide you with alcohol so that, you can kind of...
It goes back to the needle and syringe thing out in California.
Yeah. You're not helping anybody.
No,
you're
distribute this stuff.
No.
You are the enabler.
Exactly.
Good gracious.
Enabling is the word of the day, kids. Write it down. Enabling is the word of the day. You are giving people a shelter to live in. You are giving them a place where they can wash their face and hands, where they can use the lavatory, which is nice, and maybe even grab a shower if they are so inclined. And they can remain on meth or fentanyl
and
or
keep doing
booze,
what they're doing.
And really not slow down or stop at all. And you have not given them a reason. See, the whole reason why this we're going to provide you with shelter as long as you seek treatment, the whole reason that works is people really want that shelter. They're like, I got to get out of this. I can't live this way anymore. I'm living on the street. I'm miserable. Life is terrible. And clearly, I'm going to have to change my evil ways. Well, here's an opportunity. We'll give you a little part-time shelter, a place where you can live. As long as you are seeking treatment and you're going through a program, the minute you fall off that wagon, you're back on the streets. We got no use for you. But also make it hard to be on the streets. That's something else Seattle doesn't do.
Yeah, no, they make it quite easy.
No, there's a picture of a homeless encampment here that's right in a residential neighborhood. And you're like, whoa, what are you? You're just letting people build tents on the lawns
sidewalks
of it. Like,
right there.
What the hell?
It's crazy.
No, it is crazy. It's absolutely insane. So they make it easy to be on the streets. They should make it much harder to be homeless on the streets and make it harder to live in their little encampments if you're not staying sober. And guess what? When you start making it difficult to live your life that way, people stop living their lives that way.
And they will. And the incentive is, hey, you don't want to live on the street, then let's get you off the drugs or the alcohol, or if you need mental health help, a doctor, and let's get you on some medication. Those are usually the three things. Once you can get that under control, that now we can set you on a path to maybe starting out a part-time job, and then maybe a little bit more permanent residence, like an apartment or something like that. All of these little tiny homes, all of this. I know there are people that listen, they go, well, that's just not very nice. Homeless people need help. Yes, they need help because there's usually some issues that have led them to where they are.
Oh, yeah.
Now, every once in a great while, there's something that's happened. Somebody's lost their job. It's a mom, and she's got 2 kids, and she's living in the car. She's trying to get her feet back under her and get a job and get going. It's not necessarily a drug or alcohol issue. That's really rare now.
It is.
Homelessness, that's what, when we thought of homelessness, that's what we thought of. Somebody's lost their job.
Sure. Everybody's
something
made it out
terrible
to be,
has happened. They
we're
had a
all
fire.
one paycheck away.
Right,
and
yeah.
It's like, no, we're not.
That's not it.
No, we're not.
The majority of the people, when we talk about Birmingham too, California, New York, people that are living on the streets, it's one of 3 things: alcohol, drugs, mental illness. 90, probably 95% of those people. It's one of
95 to
those
98,
3.
I would say.
And you have to get them off those things or get them the help that they need in order to start making progress. So if you're saying that they can come live in this encampment and they can bring their alcohol or they can bring their drugs with them, there's no point to this.
Like I said, 20 years ago when this was tried, and they were actually providing alcohol to the alcoholics. They weren't providing drugs, but they were providing alcohol, and yes, you could get works, needles, whatever. They eventually gave up. It was about a 3.5, 4-year experiment before they just went,
wow,
we're not curing anybody.
Surprised it took that long.
Yeah, really.
1 year,
Well,
you'd be like, well, this isn't working.
They kept thinking, one of these people is going to,
one of these people.
So sooner or later, one of them is going to go, okay, you know what? I'll get off the drugs for you.
Oh,
Nope.
one person at
No.
work. Great. Woo.
Yeah. They started to try to set up okay, now we have to rotate people out of here because we're not getting any new people in, and we're just getting these people have all come here. They've set up camp. They're all just drinking and doing drugs and whatever. And we've just created basically a den of drugs, a drug use den. It's an outdoor crack house is what it is. And so they started saying, well, you can only stay here so long. And they started booting people, bringing new people in who just brought in more crack and more drugs and more fentanyl. And
round we go.
Eventually they had to close the place for exactly the same reason they're going to have to close these places, because without there being some impetus,
some motivation to get you in a different place.
Yeah. You're not going to change. That's
No.
just the way it is. I speak from personal experience. I'm not changing. You can't make me. So there, 8 o'clock.